Welcome, dear dreamers and little adventurers. Tonight we're setting off to the enchanting kingdom of Luminara, a place where the stars hang low enough to touch, and magical flowers bloom only under the moonlight. Our story is about a brave princess named Elowen, who with her pure heart and great courage must save her kingdom from an approaching darkness. So snuggle up, get cozy, and let yourself be swept away to a world of starflowers and moonbeams. The adventure begins now. Once upon a time in the heart of a magical kingdom known as Luminara, there was a princess named Elowen. Luminara was no ordinary kingdom. It was a land where the trees whispered ancient secrets, the rivers hummed soft lullabies, and the skies glittered with stars that hung low enough to touch. Elowen, with her golden hair that shimmered like the morning sun and eyes as blue as the deepest oceans, was beloved by all. But it wasn't just her beauty that enchanted the kingdom. It was her kindness. Princess Elowen had a special connection with the starflowers, rare and delicate blossoms that only bloomed under the light of the full moon. These flowers held a secret power. They could grant one heartfelt wish to anyone who tended to them with love. But the magic of the starflowers was not to be taken lightly. They required care, attention, and most importantly, a pure heart. One fateful evening, as the moon hung high in the sky, glowing brighter than ever, Elowen was walking through the royal gardens. The starflowers were in full bloom, their petals sparkling like tiny stars. She smiled as she knelt beside them, feeling their gentle energy hum in the air. Suddenly, from behind the ancient oak tree, a shadow emerged. It was the mysterious figure of an old woman, cloaked in robes woven from the night itself. "Good evening, Your Highness," the woman croaked, her voice like the rustle of leaves on a windy night. "Good evening, kind stranger," Elowen replied, rising gracefully to her feet. "What brings you to the royal garden?" The old woman's eyes glinted with a strange light. "I come with a warning. A great darkness is approaching Luminara, a darkness that seeks to swallow the beauty and magic of this land. Only the heart of the purest soul can save it." Elowen's heart raced. She loved her kingdom dearly and could not bear to see it fall to darkness. "Tell me what I must do to protect Luminara," she pleaded. The old woman extended a bony finger toward the starflowers. "You must travel to the Valley of Shadows, far beyond the borders of this kingdom. There you will find the source of the darkness. But beware, princess. The valley is treacherous, and only the brave of heart and the purest of spirit can make it through." Elowen nodded resolutely. "I will go, for the sake of Luminara." Before she could blink, the old woman vanished into the night, leaving only a whisper in the wind. "Trust in the starflowers." Elowen wasted no time. She plucked a single starflower from the garden and set off on her journey, guided by the silver light of the moon. The road was long and winding, filled with shadows that twisted and whispered doubts into her ears. But she pressed on, her heart filled with determination. As she neared the Valley of Shadows, the world around her began to change. The vibrant colors of Luminara faded into dull grays, and the once sweet scent of the air became cold and sharp. The valley loomed ahead, shrouded in mist and darkness. Elowen took a deep breath and stepped into the valley. Instantly, the shadows closed in around her, curling and shifting like living creatures. They whispered fears into her mind, trying to weaken her resolve. "You're not strong enough. You'll never make it. Turn back before it's too late." But Elowen held the starflower close to her chest and whispered, "I believe in the light." At that moment, the starflower began to glow, its soft light pushing back the shadows. The darkness hissed and recoiled, but it did not give up. As Elowen continued deeper into the valley, the shadows grew thicker and the whispers louder. Finally, she reached the heart of the valley, where a massive, gnarled tree stood. Its branches twisted up toward the sky, but no light penetrated the dark canopy. At the base of the tree, there was a stone altar, and atop it, a single black crystal pulsed with malevolent energy. "This is it," Elowen whispered to herself, stepping forward. As she approached the crystal, the ground trembled and the shadows lashed out, wrapping around her like chains. But Elowen did not falter. She raised the glowing starflower high above her head, and with all her strength, she slammed it down onto the black crystal. There was a blinding flash of light, brighter than 1,000 stars, and the valley shook violently. The shadows let out a deafening screech and melted away into nothingness. The black crystal cracked and crumbled into dust, and with it, the darkness that had threatened Luminara vanished. Elowen collapsed to the ground, exhausted but victorious. As she lay there, a gentle breeze swept through the valley, carrying with it the soft scent of blooming flowers. The dull grays of the valley began to brighten, and for the first time in centuries, sunlight pierced through the dark canopy, bathing the valley in golden light. The princess smiled, knowing she had saved her kingdom. Slowly she rose to her feet and made her way back to Luminara. When Elowen returned, the kingdom rejoiced. The skies were clearer, the rivers sang louder, and the trees swayed with joy. The starflowers bloomed brighter than ever, their petals twinkling like the stars in the night sky. As for Princess Elowen, she became known throughout the land as the Starflower Princess, the one who had saved Luminara from the darkness. But she never sought glory or praise. Instead, she continued to tend to the starflowers, always reminding her people that the greatest magic of all came from a pure heart and the courage to stand against the shadows. And so, in the land of Luminara, where the stars hung low and the flowers glowed in the moonlight, peace reigned once again, thanks to the bravery of the Starflower Princess. And every night, as the moon rose high above the kingdom, Elowen would look up at the sky and remember that no matter how dark the night, the light of a single flower could always guide the way. Good night, dear one, and may your dreams be as bright as the starflowers of Luminara.